Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nur Azhar Natasha. My metric number 2025246984. I'm from BA2732B. Today, I will be presenting my self-reflection for MGT548. In this presentation, I will present the 5 first chapter that I have learned, which are what is OB, attitude and job satisfaction, personality and value, perception and individual decision making, and lastly, motivation. Throughout this presentation, I will also relate those topics in my personal experience. Firstly, do you know what organizational behavior is? Let me explain. Organizational behavior, or we call it OB, is a study of how people behave, interact, and work together in an organization that focuses on individual behavior, team behavior, and organizational structure. OB is important because it explains why people act the way they do, how to improve teamwork, and how to stay motivated in organization. OB has taught me how to apply knowledge in real-life situations. In addition, it also teaches me that interpersonal skills such as communication, collaboration, and the ability to understand others are important to be an effective individual. This topic also explains that each person has a different personality, ways of communication, and attitude. And these differences need to be managed well in order to create a productive environment. Based on my personal experience, I once joined Camp Vigil Pengangkap Kelana Laut during STPM. From my experience during the camp, I learned a lot about organizational behavior. The camp was well structured with clear leadership, teamwork, and discipline, which reflects how an organization functions in real life. During the camp, we had to work in groups to complete various activities. This showed me how important teamwork and communication are in achieving common goals. I also observed how leadership helped guide us and ensure everything ran smoothly. The activities were sometimes challenging, but we had to stay disciplined and cooperate as a team. This helped me understand how behavior in a group can be influenced by rules, leadership, and the environment. At the end of the camp, receiving the extreme badge and epaulet gave me a strong achievement. It motivates me and showed how recognition can influence positive behavior in organization. Overall, this experience helped me understand that OB is not just theory, but sometimes it can be seen in real-life group activities like this camp. The next topic is attitude and job satisfaction. I learned that attitude refers to how we feel, think, and behave toward people and certain situations. When we have a positive attitude, we can communicate well with others, give them a good response, and work well with others. On the other hand, job satisfaction is the feeling of fulfillment and satisfaction after we manage to complete our task successfully. In my experience, I was entrusted to manage my homesick institution's YouTube channel and was appointed as one of the admin for the STPM News Telegram channel. Through this responsibility, I learned that attitude plays an important role in completing tasks effectively. I had to be responsible, consistent, and proactive in managing content and ensuring that the information shared was useful for students. At first, I realized that my attitude towards the task would affect how well I performed. I made sure to respond quickly, organize materials properly, and cooperate with other admins. From this experience, I also felt job satisfaction. Even though it was not a paid job, I felt satisfied when I saw students benefiting from notes and videos shared. It also made me feel trusted and appreciated by my institution. This experience taught me that having a positive attitude can lead to better performance, and job satisfaction can come from meaningful contribution to others. Moving on to the next topic, which is personality and value. Personality is a dynamic concept that describing how an individual reacts to and interact with others. Based on the Myers-Briggs indicator MBTI, I discovered that my personality is ISTJ. From my understanding, ISTJ individuals are usually responsible, organized, and disciplined, which I can relate to in my daily life. I personally prefer planning my tasks properly and completing responsibilities seriously. For example, when I was interested to be one of the young tutors for subject business studies during STPM, I tried to handle the responsibilities carefully and consistently. I am also a person who values honesty, commitment, and respect towards others. I believe these values are important in building trust and maintaining good relationships with people around me. Although I may seem quiet at first, I care deeply about the people and responsibilities that are important to me. Understanding my personality also helped me recognize my strengths and improve the way I interact with others. Therefore, there are the big 5 models that describe in more details where I show a moderate level of extraversion, high agreeableness, high conscientiousness, high emotional stability, and moderate level of openness. In terms of value, it plays a vital role in shaping my behavior and decisions. During high school, I was recruited to join Mary whenever there are sports events at schools. It shows that I value discipline, care, and responsibility. On the other hand, I actively joined Gamelan in high school since Form 1 and performed several times shows that I value cooperation and commitment in everything I do. Furthermore, I will explain about perception and individual decision making. From my understanding, perception is how we interpret and form impression about people or situation, while decision making is how we respond based on that perception. In my experience, I once thought my STPM teacher was very strict when I first saw her in class. My initial perception made me feel a bit nervous and cautious around her. However, after getting to know her better, I realized that she is actually very gentle and soft spoken. Although she is firm in her teaching style, she is also very caring towards her students. She always reminds us to study, gives useful exams, tips, and even shares advice for life. She also encourages us to be kind and stay positive in life. Over time, my perception completely changed and I began to truly admire her as a teacher. This experience taught me that our first perception may not always be accurate, and it is important not to judge someone too quickly. It also influences how I interact with people by being more open-minded. Last but not least, I will explain about motivation in life. From my understanding, motivation is the driving force that encourages a person to continue working hard to achieve their goals. In my personal life, one of the biggest motivation I experienced was during my STPM studies when I was listed as a child brilliant. Being a child brilliant gave me the motivation to study harder and perform well academically. At the same time, it also came with high expectation from the people around me, which sometimes made me feel pressured. However, I use that pressure as a motivation to push myself further. Another important motivation in my life is definitely my family. I decided to pursue my degree not only to make my parents proud, but also because I want to improve my family's future and give back to my hardworking parents. As the eldest daughter among four siblings, I feel a strong sense of responsibility to become a good example for my younger siblings. Although I did not fully achieve the results I wanted during STPM, that experience motivated me to do better in my degree studies. It taught me that motivation is not only about success, but also about learning from failure and continuing to improve myself. Overall, my parents and my family are my biggest source of motivation because their sacrifice inspired me to work hard and achieve my goals. In conclusion, learning these 5 topics in organizational behavior helped me understand myself and the people around me better. I realized that human behavior plays an important role in both personal life and organizations. By relating these topics to my own experiences, I learned more about my strengths, values, attitudes, and motivations. I also understood the importance of teamwork, communication, leadership, and positive thinking in achieving goals and building good relationships with others. Overall, this subject not only gave me theoretical knowledge, but also helped me grow personally and become more aware of my behavior and decisions can affect my future.